Hi guys, hope you're doing well. So today I wanted to talk a bit about astrology. Before I start, I just want to say I am not a professional astrologer. I do research astrology a lot because I use it in my practice. However, I do work with a professional astrologer because I am not that advanced and I just want to have someone that is a professional. However, I do love researching astrology and I think it's fascinating. The reason why I'm making this audio is because of a question I got, and that is whether we can see how and when we're gonna die in our natal or birth chart, whatever you want to call it. Here where I live, we call it natal chart, but I've noticed that in the US, people call it birth chart, so it's the same thing. Natal is birth, basically. Um, so, here is my opinion. Again, this is based on my research and this is my personal opinion. This is not a professional opinion because I'm not a professional astrologer, but I think it can be extremely hard to pinpoint when someone is going to die, and I'm going to explain why. But before I start, I want to start by saying that natal charts or birth charts are not meant to be used to predict things. What a birth chart really shows is aspects, and you can learn a lot about yourself from the chart, about your characteristics, about your path, in life, your talents, maybe what you should do, what career to go for, things like that. You can also learn a lot about your core wounds, about your parents, if you have some wounds, mother wounds, father wounds. It will all be in your chart. Also, some things you should work on. You can learn a lot. However, it's not meant to give predictions per se. And you can see kind of potential for your future partners and things like that. But that doesn't mean that this is exactly what's going to happen just because you have free will, guys. Remember that. So it basically shows opportunities, and we are going to see some of them and some of them we're not, and that's going to be our free will. So, for example, if someone has good aspects for politics, it doesn't mean that this person will necessarily become a politician. What it means is that if this person went into career of politics, they could be very, very successful in that field. It doesn't mean that this person actually will just become a politician because they're meant to be one. Now, when it comes to destined events, like I always say, there are some things that are meant to happen, and the rest is up to us. So, the houses that are the karmic houses that can show you a lot about maybe stuff that's meant to happen, and the things you are meant to learn this lifetime would be the fourth, eighth, and 12th house. Those are known as the karmic houses. Um, so I will say that you can definitely learn a lot about yourself and learn a lot about what you should be focusing on, what you should be working on. And I think this is something that these charts are meant to be used for. Now, when the professional astrologer does your reading, they don't only look at your natal or birth chart. There are several other charts they look at, so keep that in mind. Also, they will be looking at your transits at the time because they're very important. So, for example, when I do astrology spell for you, what's going to happen is that the astrologer picks up the transits that are the best when he compares both your chart and your axis chart and finds the date and time where transits are the best for that. It's not a prediction or anything like that. It's just that the opportunity is really good to cast a spell on that day. That's kind of how it works. So the whole astrology kind of works like that. So don't think that if you have a placement somewhere and you read something bad about that placement, it means that something horrible is going to happen to you, because it doesn't mean that. And it's way more complex to even read something like that because it depends on a bunch of stuff, trust me. Now let's go back into predicting how and when you're gonna die. So I think that when you read a chart of somebody who has passed away, and I tend to do that because, I'm interested in things like that, Scorpio moon, and lots of placements in the 8th house, which is the house of Scorpio. Um, you can kind of tell by the transits on that day that some of them could have led to this person's death. However, the reason why it's really hard to predict is because it may or may not happen. Again, free will thing. And the second very important thing is that birth charts are showing like energies, which we are. And death is a transformation basically. When we die, our body only dies and we transform in another form. We don't actually die. And we have a bunch of transformations that we go through in life that are not actual death. So it will kind of look like a transformation. And there are several aspects that could be dangerous and all sorts of stuff. They could be showing organs, bunch of things. It's really complex, but then again, it doesn't have to happen. So I think my answer would be not really. I mean, yeah, kind of, but no, if that makes sense. um, so that would be my answer to that question. And remember, guys, death is transformation. So that's all it is. And when a person dies, actually, what happens with their charts is that their transits keep on going like they are still alive because they are, you know. So again, it doesn't just end, okay, now this person died, it's the death, it's the chart stops. It doesn't, because there is no death really. So it's just one of the transformations we go through, and we go through so many. So that's why it's so hard. So again, just my opinion. I am aware that a lot of astrologers will not agree with me necessarily, um, but from my research, it comes down to that. Anyways, guys, I hope this was helpful, and focus on life, not on death. I love you guys. Bye.